Shalom, family. How's everyone? All right, good. So, welcome to another Sound Sabbath class, okay? Sound Sabbath class with Sound Faith Ministries. And today's lesson is going to be how do I study the Bible, okay? And how do I study the Bible, which, is important because many of us we might not think too much of it, and we might just begin to open and read. And you can read the Bible, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're studying the Bible in the way that you could. And the foundation of that actually isn't really centered in what most people may believe, although there's various tips and methods. There's some prerequisites in order to get the most out of the scriptures, and some prerequisites you may or may not have thought about. Let's get 2 Timothy 2:15. Let's first start off, is this something that we should do? Should we study the Bible? Yay or nay? So let's get the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2, and let's read verse 15. Book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15, and it reads, "Study to show thyself approved unto God." So the first word here in this verse is study. So we should study the Bible. We should study the word. That's something that we should be doing if we believe in the scriptures and we profess ourselves to be followers of the Most High God through his son, Hamashiach Yahushua, whom the world knows as Jesus the Christ, the anointed Savior. So now, it's understand that we should study to show ourselves approved unto the Most High God. You're studying for your relationship with him, okay? So now that's all I need from there. We're going to get a few notes in terms of understanding. The first thing I will say, when you're going to study the word sincerely, the first thing you want to do is apply the word and be righteous. Let's get Daniel 9:5-7. Get the book of Daniel, chapter 9, and we're going to read verse 5-7. The book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 5. It says, "We have sinned and have committed iniquity, and have done wickedly, and have rebelled even by departing from thy precepts and from thy judgments." Listen to this, verse 6. "Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land." Verse 7. "O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries wherewith thou hast driven them." So the first thing is understanding is that we have sinned. We're coming from a place of iniquity, a sinful state. That's important to understand at the foundation, and we're going to lead up to that. Let's get Proverbs 28:5. So we're coming from a sinful or iniquitous state because we haven't been applying the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. Let's get Proverbs 28:5. The book of Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 5. It says, "Evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things." So understanding that when you're in a place of sin, when you're in a place of iniquity, you're not going to understand the judgments of the Most High. Starting to make sense. We're starting to get somewhere. When you're not moving according to righteousness, you are not going to have the understanding of the judgments of the Most High God. It's not going to click or register the same, even though you read it. And this is how people, they can be in the Word. They've read the scriptures many a time, but yet they've never unlocked a lot of the mysteries and come into the knowledge of the truth. because that veil of sin is covering your eyes. It's a blindfold. Look at Psalms 111 and 10. Let's get the book of Psalms, chapter 111, and we're going to read verse 10. Psalm chapter 111 and verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Listen to this. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endure forever. So you have to understand, in order for you to have a good understanding of the scriptures, because when you're studying, you're trying to get an understanding. You're trying to figure out what this means, what that means. It's not going to make as much sense for you. It's not going to click, and even if it does click, it's not going to make as much sense to you until you begin to apply the law, statutes, and commandments. The application comes in twain, hand in hand, with receiving the understanding. I mean, man, I still just don't get it. It just, how's your walk? How's your application going? Because that's what's going to help you unlock the mysteries as you begin to apply the law, statutes, and commandments. Because through the application, that's how you become more righteous. Let's get Sirach, chapter 21, verse 11 through 12. It's through the application that you start to become accepted of the Most High, and you start to prove yourself unto him. He says, all right, I'll open up your understanding some more. I'll allow your mind to comprehend, and your spirit primarily to comprehend more of these words. Let's get the book of Sirach, chapter 21, and let's read verse 11 through 12. The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiastes, chapter 21, and verse 11. And it reads, He that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof. There it is. You have to keep the laws, do the laws in order to get and unlock that understanding. Otherwise, you'll always be limited. You'll always be in a lesser form of yourself. No matter where that lesser form sits, it'll be lesser than the version of you if you began to actually apply the scriptures. And as you apply the scriptures more, the more your understanding begins to become unlocked over time, according as the Most High allows by measure to be given unto you. So he that keepeth the law of the Lord getteth the understanding thereof. And the perfection of the fear of the Lord is wisdom. Verse 12. He that is not wise will not be taught. Now, of course, going back to Deuteronomy 6 and 25 and 4, 5 through 6, our wisdom is the application of these laws, statutes, and commandments. Therefore, our wisdom is righteousness. So when it's saying here, he that is not wise will not be taught, it's letting you know he that is not righteous will not be taught. You being taught is also part of that study. Whether it's done through formally me, or someone similar teaching you in a class and you be in person or online, or even just you reading the scriptures on your own, you're not going to get the understanding to be taught if you're not moving according to righteousness. It says, but there is a wisdom which multiplieth bitterness. Okay. So now, from there, let's get Sirach 21 and 19. Let's stay in the book of Ecclesiastes, the same chapter 21, and let's skip down to verse 19. And it says, doctrine, and this is also too where it says, there's a wisdom which multiplieth bitterness. And it's even still dealing with that, but let's deal with that in 19. So, it's at 19. Doctrine unto fools is as fetters on the feet and like manacles on the right hand. Fetters on the feet. Let's use dictionary.com. Let's see fetters. What does it mean? This fetter. Fetter, a chain or shackle placed on the feet. Fetters, anything that confines or restrains. So we'll say fetters on the feet. Confining, restricting your feet. We'll come back to that. Let's get manacles. Manacles is on your right hand. Let's look up manacles. See what that is using dictionary.com. Manacle, a shackle for the hand, handcuff, restraints, checks. So now, when you have shackles on your hands, your feet, you're restricted. You're restricted in terms of how you're able, if your hands, how you're able to do things, your feet, and what direction you're able to go or travel. It slows you down, okay? And you're more liable to fall, and you're limited. You're not going to be able to go very far. Let you know that if you're someone, if you're not applying these scriptures, you're not going to be able to get very far in the knowledge and understanding in this walk. And you're more liable to hurt yourself in that state because you're limited. You're operating in a limited fashion. So we don't want to be in that state. We want to learn, how can we get out of that state? Brings us to point number 2, humility and sincerity. Let's get 2 Timothy chapter 3, 1 through 7. Let's get the book of 2 Timothy chapter 3, and let's read verse 1 through 7. The book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, "This know also," so be aware of this. Be aware that in the last days, which days we are in the last days, perilous times shall come, perilous being dangerous. For men shall be lovers of their own selves. Okay, that's part of it. That's part of the problem. That's one of the key things to elucidate. You're full of you. And you're going into a place of the negative realm of pride, self-will, self-desire, puffed up. And it starts to give everything that really starts to come with that. Covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. You don't want to be in that type of predicament, because these are not only people in the world, these are even some of those that will give you, shalom, bro. Shalom, sis. It's even some of those. This is what it's dealing with. Learning, studying, but never able to come into the knowledge of the truth. The truth, which do in the future, a lesson on, but it's more than what it is people perceive it to be. Which, when people say they're in the truth, the biggest thing that they're saying is, I have an awareness that I'm an Israelite according to the scriptures. That's the biggest thing. People can have that awareness for many years and still never be in the truth. Leading some to reason that although you claim to be in the truth, you're not sincerely in the faith. You're not sincerely walking according to how Christ walked or commanded us to walk. You still have to purge these other things out of your spirit. Else you can be ever learned. Oh yeah, I read the scriptures. Oh yeah, I study. Oh yeah, I be in it. I done read all of Galatians. I done read the whole New Testament. I done read the whole Old Testament. I read the whole Bible. But how much of it do you truly understand? And how much of it are you truly applying? It matters. So now, you don't want to be someone ever learning but never able to come into the knowledge of the truth. Because it goes to show you can always learn all these various things, be filled with knowledge, but with that knowledge is information. But how much of that information do you truly understand? And how much of it do you truly apply in your life? From there, let's get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. Let's get the book of the Wisdom of Solomon. We're going to read chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1. Love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth. You have to learn to love righteousness. You can't be in a space where you hate righteousness. Righteousness is grievous unto you, burdensome unto you, boring unto you. You have to become someone that starts to develop a zeal, a fervent desire to want to be righteous, to want to be excellent for the Most High God, for the Creator. You have to develop that. So love rightly, ye that be judges of the earth, because you're supposed to be a judge of the earth, a leader of the earth, an example, someone able to decide what should happen or what should be done in various matters based off of righteousness. All of these things. Think of the Lord with a good heart. Meditate on the Most High with a good mind, a good spirit. Look forward to his Sabbaths. Look forward to his holy convocation. Look forward to his feast days. Be happy to, grow a beard and be happy to, put on your fringes and ribbon of blue. Be happy to do these things. Learn to love them. Be happy, if you're a woman, to put on a dress and that is modest and not revealing. Be happy to do these things, because it's through these things that you grow more spiritual, righteously. Because you don't want to be growing more spiritual, but in the carnal aspect, because you're only being filled more with wickedness, separating you more from the Most High God. Like it says, think of the Lord with a good heart, and in simplicity of heart, seek him. Don't be trying to finagle doctrines, trying to find a way to, skate around sound doctrine. No, stick to the script. Stick to the script. What it says to do, apply. What it says not to do, don't do. Verse 2, for he will be found of them that tempt him not, and showeth himself unto such as do not distrust him. So, you have to make sure if you want to be found of him, you want him to work with you, you have to trust him. And you can't tempt him through you being in a place of sin, and now he's tempted to bring forth judgment on you because you're moving wickedly. Be in a place to where you put your trust and faith in him to guide your path. Verse 3, for forward thoughts separate from God, and his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise. So even your thoughts begin to separate from the Most High God. Your thoughts. If you're thinking the things that you, not just random thought that cross your mind, but the things you meditate on, the things your mind is focused on, if it's not of righteousness, then guess what? It begins to separate you from the Most High. Because your understanding starts going left. Your reasoning starts going left. Verse 4 says, for into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. If you're operating in wickedness, you're not truly going to receive that spirit of wisdom. Not the way the Most High would intend. You're always going to be limited. You're always going to be constrained from being able to get that fuller portion that you could get in your spirit if you fell into compliance. But if you start falling away, that reasoning starts going left, things don't make sense to you anymore because you're no longer aligned with that Holy Spirit. Verse 5, it says, "For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in." There it is. That Holy Spirit is a spirit of discipline. It's a spirit that in order to receive it and keep it, because you receive it, but you maintain it. You have to discipline yourself. You have to conform to the standard of the Most High God's laws, statutes, and commandments. That's the only way you're going to be able to retain that spirit. If you start going left, you lean too far, that spirit got to depart. You have to self-correct. Let me get that right. You have to rediscipline yourself. Stay on track, because it'll flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding. Your thoughts, you start focusing on things for too long that, hey, I gotta go. I can't stay now. These thoughts getting wicked. Because that spirit is supposed to dwell within you. That Holy Spirit is supposed to dwell within these carnal, physical temples. And it's supposed to fill us up. If we let it, if we allow it to, like it says, and flee from and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness cometh in. So if you truly want to get that spirit of wisdom, that spirit of understanding, say, you know what? You have to stay righteous. And first, you have to become righteous to even receive it. Let you know the world that they don't have it. They may desire to have it. They might have a form, an appearance somewhat of godliness, and they seem to have it, but they lack it. So this is the way to get it. From here, let's get the next point, number 3. Desire and devotion. Point number 3, let's get James. Let's get the book of James, chapter 1, and we are going to read verse 5. Book of James, chapter 1, and verse 5. And it reads, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it should be given him." So if anyone lacks that wisdom, that knowledge and understanding, hey, you can ask. Ask the Most High, Father, please help me increase in my understanding. Help me gain more understanding of these things. You can ask. And in due season, the Most High will give it to you. It's not necessarily I ask today and I get it today. You'll grow over time. By measure, as the Most High sees fit. Remember we talked about 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Study. Show thyself approved unto God. He's looking and seeing, all right, I open up your understanding more. I see you're focused more. You're studying more. It's based on you. Your level of growth is based on you. No cap on the spirit. It's based on how serious you are. Some have more of a desire than others. Some are more devoted than others. That's where you see ultimately where people begin to get placed in the spirit. Your ranking in the spirit depends on your desire and devotion. And that'll show in terms of your growth as well. Now, like I said, he gives to all men liberally and upbraideth not. He's not going to be like, you want wisdom? Man, get out of here. You don't need no dang wisdom. You don't want to have nothing to do with wisdom. He ain't over here upbraiding you, making fun of you and poking at you. Because you upbraid, you finding fault. You trying to pick at every little thing somebody does or did. He's not trying to find fault in you or to highlight every single little thing that you've done and see why, you're unworthy in that regard. Like, no, if you want wisdom, all right. It's always acceptable for him if you're trying to sincerely develop yourself. Always acceptable. Let's get Tobit 12 and 8. So the Most High wants that. Remember, he wants, Most High, at the end of the day, he wants the world to follow righteousness. So, but not everybody will. So let's get Tobit 12 and 8. Remember, that's going to be his government when he come back. Let's get Tobit 12 and 8. The book of Tobit, chapter 12 and verse 8. It reads, prayer is good with fasting and alms and righteousness. So now remember, before I said pray, right? Ask, pray. We ask through our prayers. But prayer is good, but you want to add to it. In conjunction with praying, you want to fast periodically. You want to fast more than just once a year. I would encourage you to fast every season. I would encourage you even further to fast every month. Switch off different times. May do a day here, 2 days there, 3 days occasionally. Fast. But now, in conjunction with that, give alms. Give alms. And also maintain the other laws, the rest of righteousness. Make sure all these things are being done to have yourself a strong package. You ever see for like certain jobs, you have to put in a packet. You have to make sure you get certain things lined up and submit all these things together to make a more compelling packet. With the Most High, you're putting in, with your prayer, you're putting a packet together. Because the Most High is going to see, why should I answer your request? What are you presenting before me to find yourself worthy of not only to receive these things, but with urgency? Why should I move expediently concerning you in this situation? In the spirit, you want to have an impressive resume. Most High look at this and say, I'll wait. I'll pass on that. Or the Most High can look and say, man, yeah. Hey, yeah, this coming. Bet. Give it a minute, but it's coming though, for sure. I got you. Work with him and he'll work with you. From here, let's get Sirach 6 and 32. Let's get Ecclesiasticus, book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 32. The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 32. It says, my son, if thou wilt, thou shalt be taught. And if thou wilt apply thy mind, thou shalt be prudent. So a big part of it is it's your choice. If you have the desire, you'll be taught. But do you want to be taught? That's a big part of it. Do you want to be taught? And as it says, will you apply your mind? If you apply your mind, you'll become wise, but you have to put in the work. It's not something that is just going to be beamed into you. Are you putting in the time and the effort to get it? Like if I want to be strong, guess what I got to do? If I want to be physically strong, I have to exercise. I have to, work out to get physically stronger. It's not going to happen just because I have the desire, but I don't put in the effort. Then it's, you may not want it bad enough. Or reality versus expectation. You don't understand quite how to get it. Guess what? With wisdom with the Most High, it's a process. All right, you want it. You're willing to study. Are you going to put in the time to study? Put in the time to learn. And see these things. Now from here, let's get Proverbs 18 and 1. Let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, and let's read verse 1. The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, and verse 1. It reads, through desire, a man having separated himself seeketh and intermeddleth with all wisdom. See that? You have to have the desire is the beginning. Do you desire it? And how strong is that desire? You just kind of want it.
you just kind of hope it happen, or like, man, nah, I'm on it. I'm making time. I'm sacrificing. Either I'm getting up, shoot, I'm getting up at 6 just to get an extra hour and 30 minutes in. I'm waking up at 5. Or the opposite. I'm staying up, till 12 or 1 just to get that extra 30 minute, extra hour in. So that's a way to do it. Or heck, or just in the evening, instead of me watching my show, playing my games, what so have you, nah, I'm putting in that extra again, 30 minutes or an hour. Shoot, even if it's consistent 10 minutes, sometimes it's better than no time. It's more than what you were doing before. Hey, even if you just have 5 minutes a day, help keep Satan away. Something. You gotta have something. I mean, hey, something to help keep it away. Because what were you doing before? If it was nothing, and if every day I add on 5, what's 5 times 7? 35, right? I do the math right. But 35. So that's an extra 35 minutes you're getting a week that you weren't getting before. And then that adds up. If I do 35 a week, then over a month, then over months, and then a year, that time adds up. And that could be a lot of time for that year versus what you were doing the year prior, which was no time or a lot less, especially on your own. So don't always think a whole lot, just a little bit. Add a little bit. And it can be different every day. Okay, I'll read these books on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, I'll read these books. Focus on some of the, or I'll study this way in this regard on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, I'll study this way. The difference. So, but a little bit goes a long ways because everyone's situation is different as well. But through desire, man, having separated himself, that's another thing. You have to sometimes separate yourself. I can't be in a place where I have all these other distractions. And sometimes separating yourself can be something just as simple as putting my phone down, logging out of an app, deleting an app if I need to, if it's too much of a distraction. So I can separate myself and focus more on studying these things and having less distractions. Turning my game off, not just in standby. Let me turn it off. Let me unplug it so I don't naturally just turn it on and get distracted. Same my TV. I need to unplug my TV. It's too bothersome, too much of a distraction. Because then I got to think a little more if I really want to plug it in. Extra step. It helps. It helps with anything. If you're addicted, it helps just making it harder to get to your vices. If I'm addicted to sweets, it makes more sense for me not bring a whole lot in the house and just go out and get it. Because guess what? You're not always going to feel like getting up to go get it, which means you're automatically going to eat it less. And without it being in the house, it's not as easily accessible. You can't just go in there all times of the day and I'll just grab and eat. It helps. And you're putting yourself in a place to help you discipline yourself. Not everybody can just, all right, I'll put it in the top cabinet. I just won't touch it. Nah, because you know it's there. And the moment you want it, all right, I'm going in that top cabinet now. And then it end up on the bottom cabinet. Easier in reach. Dang, I need the whole bag in a week. It's supposed to last all month or for 2 weeks. You have to learn yourself and learn what works for you. Some people, studying 5 minutes a day works. Someone else, nah, I got to make 30 minutes on this day, and then and that'll work better for me. Or 30 minutes on this day and 30 minutes on that day. Hey, if that works better for you, someone, I just got to make just one day an hour. Just one day a week, Tuesday I study an hour. That's the time I have. Hey, whatever works. As long as it's more than what you're doing before, it's progress. Be happy for it. I'm happy for you. So it's progress, growth. Like it says, separate himself, seeketh and intermeddle with all wisdom. So now it doesn't mean all information, all wisdom, and all, when it comes down to righteousness, you trying to learn about everything. What the law say on this, what the law say on that, you know. And it doesn't necessarily mean everything at once in one sitting, but over time, now I'm trying to study this, and then okay, hopefully I can get into this next, you know, and hopefully okay, cool, I can study this. Ooh, okay, you might have brothers. Oh, what you reading on this, or what books you read? You might have that. Let's get Acts 17 and 11. Let's get the book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse 11. The book of Acts, chapter 17 and verse 11, and it reads, it says, these were more noble than those in Thessalonica. Let's see what made them more noble. Let's see, because I want to shoot. What more noble, even just the fact that they're noble, but more noble than those in Thessalonica, in that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so. If you're in a place where you're able to search the scriptures more and you're able to receive the scriptures in readiness of mind, you're on the path of nobility, baby. That helps make you more noble. Nobility at its finest. Because that's very honorable. Because you're taking the time to concern yourself with the salvation of you and from you, probably your family or friends or your people in general. So that's a beautiful thing. So it's honorable. And I'm proud of anyone that takes that extra time, because the reality, you could be doing anything else. You could be just watching TV, playing games, you name it. But you're choosing, nah, I heard this doctrine, man. I need to go over it. I need to really, study this doctrine some more to see if this is sound, see if I can rock with this or not, So it's curious for me. I might have to meditate on it. In certain studying, it can be phases. I study a little bit, but now I got to pray on it some more. I got to fast on it some more. And then I got to study some more. And it can be revealed. You can spend all month or months studying something to get a better understanding or revelation concerning it. May not get it at once, and that's okay. It takes time. From there, let's get Revelation 5 and 10. Let's get the book of Revelation chapter 5 and verse 10. Revelation chapter 5 and verse 10, and it reads, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Okay, so now, of course, understanding, ultimately, we're going to have our heavenly state on the earth, ultimately. So, through, first and foremost, our repentance and the judgment of this earth. But the key is that, like I said, we're going to be made and has made us unto our God kings and priests. Kings and priests. What's the standard? One of the things that comes with being a king or a priest. Let's get Proverbs 25 and 2. Let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse 2. It's good to think of ourselves as kingly and priestly as a people, if we do well. Let's get Proverbs chapter 25, and let's read verse 2. It says, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing. Oh, you mean God doesn't put everything out in the open? God conceals things? Really? Let's read on. It says, but the honor of kings, want to be kingly, right? We're kings. We're priests. Well, what comes with the territory? But the honor of kings is to search out a matter. Search it out. There's a puzzle over there. Put the pieces together. There's a mystery over there. Investigate it. Investigate, explore, discover. Find it out. Because that's part of the process. Most High loves that. Oh, I want to see if you can find this. And then he's proud of you for doing it. Look at my son. Look at my daughter doing the research. I see you over there getting your search on. All right. I see you with your Google search. Now you opening up some books. Okay. That I see. All right. I see you putting in that time, reading precept after precept, page upon page, line upon line, verse upon verse, chapter after chapter, book after book. Guess what? That's honorable. I love it. All right. I'll increase you. You just had a 5% growth spurt in your spirit. You don't even know it. You increased. All praises. Someone else, hey, they had a 13% increase. Someone else 20, 30. Someone else might be a 1, but hey, where they overall were at was higher than they walked. Because remember, you coming from a depleted state with your repentance, and that percentage, it can go up a lot faster, sooner. If you apply yourself, it's all on you. Now, like I said, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. Are you searching out the matters? Are you hearing things and saying, man, let me look into that. Let me read that more. You can do that. That's honorable. And it's across the board too. Even if you're in a place, you're looking to officially join a congregation or a camp. You could be looking at somebody and watching, all right, let me study him for a time. That's wise. You may study him for days, weeks, months, even years before making a sound decision. As long as it takes you to be able to say, you know what, I can trust this individual or these individuals with my learning, with my spiritual growth. Because I watched them for some time and I can see the fruits on them that, hey, this is a good place to be. And I believe this is where the Most High God would want me to learn from and to grow from. That's beautiful. There's honor in that. Let's get John chapter 5 and verse 39. In the book of John chapter 5 and verse 39. And it reads, search the scriptures. Again, search the scriptures, for in them ye think ye have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. So you want to search the scriptures. Going and reading it, and that's how you put lessons together. That's how you prove or disprove certain doctrines or statements or things of that nature. Okay, I read here in this book, and also, okay, I read in this book, okay, this one's saying this one's saying here. Okay, that seems like that's explaining more of what this is saying here. Okay, let me annotate that. Or let me put this for this or more stuff under this category. And, you can work on several lessons at one time. Several articles at once. I even read article. Work on several articles at once. Add to this one, add to that one, add to this one. And eventually over time, I'll complete them. So, but I hold myself accountable to, all right, let me make sure I knock these out this week or this month. So, or, I'll say this, for later, this isn't as expedient, but I'll put on the back burner. When I find something, okay, I know where I'll put this. Even in your notes, you find places where, okay, all right, yeah, I'll put this in here. So when I know this is dealing with things on prayer, so I'll add this to my prayer list. So I know this is dealing with alms, so I'll put this, all right, anything dealing with alms, I'll put over here. You have that. So now, let's get Ecclesiastes 12 and 12. Let's get the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and let's read verse 12. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse 12. And further by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. So now, we understand much study is taxing, it's tiring, fatiguing. But much study for one may not be the equivalent for another. So what I can find to be a lot may be different from what this person may find to be a lot. This person can read one chapter and like, man, that was a lot for me to take in. Someone else, they can read several chapters and still feel okay. Case by case. So you have to find that balance and how much it is that you can do. Same like with anything else. Exercising, I may not be able to lift what that person can lift. Let me start off lower. I'm not at that stage yet. In some case, I may not get to where that person is at, or that may not necessarily be my goal. I may have a different goal. So this is how I'll move concerning, my situation. Being aware of that too. You can have different goals. Some people, you might be in a spirit where, you know what, this month I want to read the whole book of John. Let's go. Someone else may say, nah, this week I want to read the whole book of John. Either way it goes, you have to plan your level of execution. Let's get point number 4, time and opportunity. Let's get Sirach 38, 24 through 25. Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 38. The next point 4, is time and opportunity. You need time and opportunity. Let's get Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 38, verse 24 to 25. Sirach chapter 38 and verse 24. Sirach chapter 38, verse 24, and it reads, the wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall become wise. That leisure time is that free time. If you're truly trying to become wise and learn something to be able to understand it and apply it, you're going to need free time to do so. That is just part of it. You need time. 25. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow, and that glorieth in the goad, that driveth oxen, and is occupied in their labors, whose talk is of bullocks? Because that's what happens. Some of these jobs, it's like all you do is work, and you be consumed with all you be talking about is your work, for the better or the worse. Because you're talking about how much work suck and how much your coworkers are bad and the stress from there, or you're just talking about how much you love your job, how much you love your work, the next project you're working on. Either way it goes, how are you going to be able to truly develop yourself if you're overly focused with work? Hey, he has ears to hear, let him hear. Because that's multifaceted. Because even then, hey, if you have brothers or sisters that are more serious about the ministry, come together and work to try to make it to where you can work less. There's multiple ways around that, to where you can work less. Sometimes it may be one sacrificing to get a better job, even going back to school, learning a trade or learning a skill or earning a degree to get a better job to help carry the weight of the household so that someone else can become more available, to be able to be more successful in the ministry, to be able to focus more in the ministry. Other times, like, hey, we make this, but if I take a pay cut here, I can get more time back so I can focus more on the ministry. It's a sacrifice. That works too. Because you have someone that's serious about, because remember, to study in this way, to even study, be able to teach, and there's different ways to teach. Yeah, some people, they may do more like a Paul. Paul was traveling. He was doing the work of an evangelist heavily. Traveling, going to different, countries and different continents to try to teach this word. Traveling. Some may be called to do that. Some may feel compelled to do that in their spirit. Money answers all things. Some may be able to, hey, if I work strong for 6 months, now I can save, put away more of that money, then I could travel for another 6 months. Rinse, wash, repeat. All praises. Or you might be in a state to where, you know what, shoot, I can really, it's just me, or just me and my spouse, or just me and my brother, me and my sister, shoot. We get the RV, man, we can travel in the RV and go hit up different places. You can do that. But you ain't going to be able to do a Paul with a family of 8 successfully. You're going to have problems. Even if you can, doesn't mean you should. Again, you can have a lot more problems in the flesh. It's only your spouse or spouses and your children. So it can be some issues. So you have to also weigh in the balance of what's going to work best for you and your situation. You might have a situation where, because again, you might have sisters serious about the ministry that may be more devoted in ways that that man may not be. That, hey, I see everything my wife is trying to do with hospitality and the ministry and the media department. I want her to be more free to be able to do that all the more. So I work more so she doesn't have to be more available for the ministry. Someone like that, hey, that's a beautiful. So, hey, I see the way my biological brother and sister moving there. I want to put them in a better space. I want to work to where, hey, you can, hey, stay with me. Or let's get this place together. That way the overhead is low. We don't need as much. We come together. It'll free up more of your time. Beautiful. Or you might have a situation where a man that is devoted, or a sister you might see as man is devoted, hey, I want to be a part of this brother's family and help him build. No, he has a wife. I see his wife is serious about the ministry. I see his brother serious. Like, man, if we build, hey, I work more just to free up more of your time, so you ain't got to work as hard. Different level of devotion. That different way, that all in all, different scenarios and how one come together to free up someone else to be able to have more time to focus more on the ministry, to be more successful. That's beautiful. Everyone is able to find to get it done. So now, from there, let's get the next point. Number 5, guidance. Let's get Proverbs 18:2. More than one way to skin a cat, as they say. Let's get Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 2. Book of Proverbs chapter 18 and verse 2. It says, a fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. We'd only be foolish to believe that it is just gonna come to us. It's just gonna be beamed into us. We'll just get it one day. You're going to get it through application. You're gonna get it through either applying yourself, putting yourself in position to listen to this class, listen to this understanding, sit down with this person, talk to this person over the phone, and what so have you. Or this life experience, and boom, it hit through this life experience, what I went through. And hopefully it ain't like a Jonah experience, and then now you learn the hard way. You don't want that. So, but it says, the fool have no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself. Be in a space where you're willing, if you've never done, especially if you've never done so, but be in a space where you're willing to come under the umbrella or instruction of someone else. And I'm not saying it has to be me by any chance. It doesn't have to be me. So, but let it be somebody. And let it be for a time. Let it be for like a good 3 years. Really get grounded and rooted. Really learn. And see what it's about. And really prove and get yourself immersed, because you want a good, solid understanding. And you'll know on that route that, okay, this is the extent of this person's knowledge, or you know what, I can see with watching and learning this person for a year that I see that most of these doctrines are like Swiss cheese. They got a lot of holes in them. Or you know what, man, I see this person for 6 months, and what I've seen a consistent pattern of sound doctrine. And I think I would like to learn more with them, case by case, with fasting and prayer. Let's get Acts chapter 30, verse 31. Acts chapter 8, verse 30 through 31. Acts chapter 8 and verse 30. And Philip ran thither to him, and heard him read the prophet Isaiah, which is Isaiah, and said, understandest thou what thou readest? So he heard him reading. He asked him, hey, do you understand what it is you're reading? Verse 31. And he said, how can I, except some man should guide me? Some people don't like that. Oh, I need I don't need man to teach me. God will teach me. God uses men. Look at and women, but look at the scriptures. You have prophets and some prophetesses that he used, but the prerequisite, they were righteous. So, and at the least just, even if they may have made certain mistakes. But yet and still, we have to be in a place to where we allow somebody to guide us. And you prove that person to see, are they worthy of such? Because not everybody is worthy. Not every teacher is good. Not only in terms of their ability to teach, but also in terms of their level of sincerity in the word and scriptures and their level of righteousness. You have to prove those things, whether they be a big congregation or a small congregation, 200 people or 2 people. So you have to prove and see, is this person worth listening to and following? And you have to find somebody, and then like it says, and he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. He desired, like, man, hey, show me, teach me, allow me to be able to see what it is that you know, because I lack in these regards. And that's part of being, born again. I'm vulnerable. I'm a babe. It's a beautiful time, but man, it's a struggle. You can be a babe in this walk not only for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and even longer if you don't build a solid foundation. Some people never get grounded and rooted. So, I've been in the truth 10 years, 20 years. But yeah, what has the quality of that been? You've been aware of the knowledge, but how much have you applied it over that time? And have you been trained and groomed over that time to be able to be successful? So let's get Sirach 6:36. Let's get the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 6 and verse 36. The book of Sirach, chapter 6 and verse 36, and it reads, "And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door." If you see somebody of understanding, you see they have some wisdom, the scriptures tell you, you want to capitalize on that. Utilize your time to try to, man, anytime you can, hey, bro, can I learn more from you? Hey, sis, I heard you saying women should dress and be like this. Can I learn more of those things? Or how to be more feminine or how to be more modest? Can I learn? Hey, learning, from people who have come before you. That's how you build a strong community. You have that, and it's a blessing if you have many people you can go to. Let's remember point 6. Remember the mission. Let's get Proverbs 15 and 28. Let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 28. The book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 28. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. So remember, a prime thing of the righteous to study is to be able to give an answer to those who may ask. Hey, why you wear them tassel thingies? Oh, because of this. In Numbers chapter 15, verse 30, it's a commandment. And okay. Why you wear a head covering sometimes? Just whatever it is. Why you wear a dress? So why you grow that beard out? Whatever it is, to be able to give an answer to these things, to one that asks. You don't want to be in the truth, so to speak, in the faith, and you have no sense about you in terms of why you do the thing that you do, why you practice what you practice. You want to be able to say, oh yeah, this is why I do this. This is why I do that. It gets Sirach chapter 3, verse 25. There's also responsibility. Let's get the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3 and verse 25. The book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 25, and it reads, "Without eyes thou shalt want light." And it goes on to it's still speaking on this. "Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not." It's like, man, if you lack eyes, you're going to be in one. Man, all I want to do is be able to see, because I can't. It's letting you know when you lack the information on something, you don't want to begin to speak on those things because it's going to put you in a space to where you can become confounded. You can be in a place where you become lost in the sauce, don't even know what you're talking about. And you can become a stumbling block, not only to yourself, but unto others as well. Don't do as the manner of some is. You watch someone speak well, eloquently, fluidly on the streets or behind a table, and you want to emulate them without understanding the training they went through to get there. That's important. Were you trained? And are you willing to become trained? Or are you going to be like the vagabond Jews in the book of Acts in Rome that, hey, we adjure you through whom Paul teacheth. But you ain't moving right. You don't have that same prowess and power because you haven't submitted yourself as much to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And for 7, I'm not going to be able to get everything, but let me get something. Number 7 is beware of false doctrines. You get Isaiah 8 and 20. We get the book of Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 20. And it reads, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. Whatever it is someone is bringing to you, you want to make sure it stands on this soundly. And what do you weigh? Do you weigh more for or against whatever it is that they're teaching? I don't care what the doctrine is. Is it according to this? No matter how crazy or on point it may seem, because you got to think, have you read the whole scriptures cover to cover? Do you know all the laws? So you might hear some things that may seem as if it's not grounded and rooted in the scriptures, but you might discover, oh snap, this is in there. And the other time, things that you think are in here, and the scriptures don't say that. But it's just the philosophy of man. So you want to double check. Get 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 13 through 14. Get 2 Timothy chapter 3, and we want to get verse 13 through 14. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 13, but it says, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. You have to understand that. More people, because people, it's always somebody like, some fault, some leader, some kind. You're going to experience more people who are not moving according to sound doctrine than people who are. That's just the facts. The scriptures tell us and warn us of that. And it's only going to get worse. People that are wicked, and you come run in and brothers, Jake's just wicked, sister just wicked, you're going to encounter that more. The scriptures warn us. It comes with the territory. Shall wax worse. Seducers, people trying to get you, if you just, if I just tell you, brother. People trying to seduce you into various doctrines and understandings. But you're going to have many, they're not only going to be deceiving people, but even many themselves being deceived. You need to be there by their own thoughts or by the teaching of others that they once heard that set them on the track that now that they're on. It says, but how do you escape that? Verse 14. But continue thou, as for you, in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. You're going to be able to go back to the good teachers. You continue in the things that you know for sure, this is sound doctrine. I don't know about this. I got to put that to the side. I can't move on that. That's okay. I'm going to get back to that, but for now, leave that out, but I can roll with this. I know this to be sound, and I stick with this. People teaching these things, I can rock with. Some other things I'm gonna have to get with someone I know for sure is, hey, they rocking right. We get 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15. So now this is when we get study to show thyself approved unto God. Keep studying. Keep studying. Keep researching. You might watch their video to see, okay, let me see. All right, I see they break down. You take notes and see, all right, how things roll. A workman, because you working for the Most High. You working on your spirit. You building up your temple. That needed not to be ashamed. Nothing wrong with that, because you're trying to be better and do better in righteousness, thus said the Lord. Rightly dividing the word of truth. I'm not just trying to bend this to my will, or this is what I want to believe, but nope. All right, this is what it says. It's what it says here. That's what I'm doing. And then 2 Timothy 3:16 through 17. This will have to be the last one. You know what? Let me get Sirach 22 and 13. Let me get Sirach 22 and 13. That one's more so the one I ended on. Let me get Sirach 22 and 13. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 22 and verse 13. Says, talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that hath no understanding. Beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. Depart from him, and thou shalt find rest, and never be disquieted with madness. A lot of times, if you stay away from the foolishness and the nonsense, and you filter it, you'll do much better. So it's finding those adequate people to learn from and study with, and those people who aren't adequate, and staying true to what you know to be sound doctrine. So I hope, you got edified. Of course, there are a number of scriptures I could not get to for sake of time, but I pray you found these words edifying, you meditate on them, and it helps further develop your spiritual growth in this walk. So with that, I'm Brother Yatab with Sound Faith Ministries, and I say shalom.